Hello everyone and welcome back to the pond. My name is Frank, aka Bullfry TCG, and we are back. We are going to continue our review of the remaining cards of Spiritforged. I planned to do this in one video, but then the last video took like an hour to get through half of it, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to split it into two. But yeah, before we carry on, if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more from me, then please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy, and maybe even write a comment. It really helps to support the channel, and I would be forever grateful. But okay, let's kick this off with Combat Chef. So he is in body, so orange, 5 energy, 5 might, and Weapon Master. Yeah, another one of these vanilla units that has Weapon Master. Still remains to be seen how powerful Weapon Master is going to be. I think it's going to be very powerful, but of course it does run into the situation of if you don't have a weapon out on the board, then it doesn't do anything. Then it's just a 5/5 vanilla, which is not that good. So yeah, I think this is probably one of the, because I think these kinds of cards are going to get worse the higher up the mana curve they get, and I think 5/5 it's a pretty large commitment for something that doesn't give you any value. So yeah, probably not the best one. Okay, we've seen these, and then we get to Dire Wing. Now this card is sick, I think. 7 energy, 7 might for a dragon. Dire Wing, I enter ready if you control another dragon. So I think this is gonna make the whole dragon archetype with the Herald of the Scales a lot better. Just having a dragon that enters ready, it's 7 might, it's gonna trade into a lot, and then with the Herald you can play it for 5. It does of course require you to have a dragon on the board already, but we've seen, like, we already saw the red card in the previous video, the dragon that costs 4 energy. So that means you can potentially have that out when you play this, and then this just enters ready. And then even if it doesn't enter ready, like just playing a 7 might dragon for 5 energy is just good by itself. But yeah, I think this card is going to be a really good inclusion in that deck. But I mean, you don't really want to play it outside of the dragon deck, I think. But in the dragon deck, I think this is going to be a really, really good card. Okay, we've seen that. We have not seen the Laurent Bladekeeper. 3 energy, 3 might for a unit that has ganking. Yeah, I mean, ganking is a good keyword. I don't know how much this card is going to benefit from that since it's so small. I think if you can get an equipment on this, it's going to get a lot better. Because then it's going to, you know, be a bit more impactful of a swing to just dump over to the other battlefield. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a very vanilla unit, you know, like ganking comes up sometimes. So yeah, I think if you can play this out on turn 1, and then equip it with an equipment and kind of get that ganking like immediately, I think it could be very good. But I mean, outside of that, it's not the greatest card. It's an okay card. And then we have the Punch First, I believe we did, yep. And then we have Sea Monkey. So 2 energy, 2 might for a unit that says you may pay 1 as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you pay the additional cost, buff me. I think this is also like one of those cards that just, you can play it out for 2 on turn 1 if you want to just have an early drop. And then if you have more energy, you can pay an additional one to give it a buff. And then it has a bunch of other synergies with like the Monastery Battlefield, or with just the set ability, for example, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I like this. I like these designs. It's not an amazing card. It's a good card. And yeah. Okay, the Veteran Poro, we saw that. Like this also has Weapon Master, the Veteran Poro, but this costs 2. So I think this, because this is just good either way. You can just play this as a 2-of, and then if you have a weapon out already, then it gets the Weapon Master ability off as well. So I think the Veteran Poro is actually really, really good. But like when you compare this to the Combat Chef, like this is basically the same card. The Combat Chef just cost 5 more. I think this is where you want to be. But okay, let's look at the Eeyore. Now we saw this. Oh, another dragon. Okay, Fade Dragon. 7 energy, 1 power, 7 might. When you play me, buff up to 4 friendly units. And when you spend a buff, play a gold gear token exhausted. Okay, now that's very interesting, because we do have cards that spends buffs, like the Overt Operations, I think it's called, that just spends all the buffs on the board, or on the battlefield maybe, and then it restands all the units, and then rebuffs them. Okay, that's very interesting. So if you have this out and you attack into the Monastery of Aaand battlefield, for example, you just get a draw 1 and you get a gold token off of that. This is a very interesting ability. I mean, I don't actually think you want to play this in the dragon deck necessarily. I mean, you can, of course, but I mean, having 4 friendly units to buff to get the maximum value out of this, you kind of have. I mean, of course, you can build a deck to be a bit more like, to have a bunch more stuff in it. not just the dragons, which I mean you kind of have to do anyways. Yeah, I mean it's a good ability. Just getting 4 buffs on the board is never a bad thing. It is 7 might. And then when you spend a buff, play gold gear token exhausted. Yeah, I think this card is actually pretty cool. There has to be some kind of combo potential with this, like just spending a bunch of buffs and getting a bunch of gear and then doing a bunch of stuff with that. But I'm not sure what that combo is yet. But yeah, I like the card. I think it's almost looks like a broccoli dragon. Okay, anyways. We have the Hex Drinker. 2 energy for a... I think it was 2 energy. Yes, 2 energy for a gear and equipment. Hex Drinker, equip 1 body power. Gives +1 might and it gives deflect. Yeah, I mean, as far as the cheap equipments go, I think this is an okay one. It gives +1 might, which for these smaller equipments, at least early game, the might is kind of what you care about. The deflect is gonna get relevant later on. I mean, I think this is one of those cards that it's gonna be really good against like Kai'Sa, for example, where they just have to pay the deflect for. I mean, you can just keep re-equipping this. They just have to pay deflect all the time. I think this is going to be a really annoying card to deal with. It does only give +1 might, so in the early game it's not going to be as good, and against certain decks it's not going to be as good. So I'm not sure you want to play this in the main deck, but maybe this is a sideboard option to go against like really like targeting heavy decks. But yeah, like a main deck option, I think it's probably you probably have better options than this, because deflect is one of those keywords that against some decks it's really devastating, and then against other decks it doesn't do anything. Okay, we saw the Jawfish. We have not seen the Petricide Monument. So 2 energy for a temporary gear. And friendly units have deflect. Huh. Okay, so 2 energy, gear, temporary. Friendly units have deflect. So you play this out. All of your units get deflect for 1 turn. And then this dies. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this one. It just does so little. Like as I said, like deflect is such a kind of divisive keyword already, and the fact that like sometimes it does a lot and sometimes it doesn't do anything, and just getting that for 1 turn, I think it's probably not that good. I'm not really a big fan of this one. I don't really see a scenario where you want and the scenarios where you do want this, like if they're gonna play like in a Cathy Rain, for example. And they're gonna have to target all of your units, and yeah, then it's gonna be really good, because then they have to play deflect like 6 times. But other than that, yeah, I'm not really a fan of this one. It is a cheap gear, that is to be said. It's a cheap gear that you can play for 2, so maybe that there are some synergies there. It goes into the trash, maybe that's some synergies to have it, let's say, it's sitting in the trash. But yeah, other than that, I think this is probably the worst gear we've seen so far. Okay, we have Show of Strength. It is a 2 energy, 1 power spell. In body still. Reaction, draw 1 for each of your mighty units. Now I think this is going to be really good in decks like Fiora, that cares a lot about mighty units. It's going to be really good in Volibear. Volibear doesn't have the best card draw. Right now it's like Kadrogurn is like the big draw payoff for playing mighty units, and I think this is a really good payoff in addition to that. So yeah, I like this card. In those decks, I really like this card. Okay, we have... Did I say that? Yeah, I believe I saw the Strike Down. Warmock's Armor we talked about. Akshan, I do not think we talked about this one. Okay. Akshan, Mischievous. 4 energy, 4 might for a champion unit. Akshan, he has Weapon Master, and he says, you may pay 2 additional body power as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you pay the additional cost, move an enemy gear to your base. You control it until I leave the board. If it's an equipment, attach it to me. Oh my god. That is such a strong ability. That is such a strong ability. And it says gear. So it doesn't say equipment. So if your opponent plays like the big 7 drop gear that just creates recruits, you can play this, steal that gear, then just keep using it yourself. Oh my god, yeah, this card is very good. Of course, it only steals gear. So, but oh, that's so interesting, because then you can steal like your opponent's Zani's Hourglass. That's so funny. You can steal your opponent's Zani's Hourglass, and then yeah, you could you prevent them from getting back their big stuff. Wow, this card is so cool. I've never seen this card before. And he has Weapon Master as well, so you can just, like, when you play him out, you can just equip him to something. Yeah, and again, like, you don't have to use that ability. You can just play it out for 4 and equip it to something that you control, just as a tempo play, and then you can play the double power if you want to steal something as well. Yeah, I think this action is sick. Sick design. Love it. Okay, I don't think we saw the Fiora actually. Very pretty Fiora here, the alt art. Let's look at the normal one. Fiora Peerless, 3 energy, 1 power, 3 might. When I attack or defend one-on-one, double my might this combat. Okay, so this is kind of the anti-Master Yi card. I wonder how easy it's gonna be to like control this ability, like to have this ability trigger reliably in just the deck in general. If you have like some ways of controlling that. Like some control tools to either move your stuff back or just take them out. Yeah, I mean, I think this ability is really good. It's also very specific, and you kind of it requires some workaround. But if you can get it off, then it's really good. And then like, it gives you double the might. So basically, every pump is gonna get doubled. So if you give her +3 and she attacks on 1-on-1, she essentially gets +6 in total. Yeah, I like this card. I think it looks really cool. But yeah, again, like, I wonder how easy it's gonna be to trigger this ability. Because as long as if they have a big unit and 1 token, then this ability is not gonna work. But okay, yeah, I like the design. Kind of like the 1-on-1 dueler. We saw these. We saw the Lucian. I don't think we saw these. Oh, no, yeah, no, we did. Okay, we saw all these. We saw all of these. Have we seen all of them? Okay, yeah, that's it, actually. That's body. Okay, moving on to Chaos. And we're starting off with Black Market Broker. 3 energy, 3 might for a Chaos unit that says when you play a card from face down, play a gold gear token exhausted. Okay, I think this card is going to be really good in, obviously the first deck that comes to mind is Teemo, because he really likes his hidden cards. I think this is also is a new payoff for just playing hidden cards in general. In that deck I like it a lot. I don't think I like it in anything else. I don't know how Ezreal is going to play, if he likes to play face down cards as well. I don't think so. But for Teemo I think this is a very, very good card. It lets you it's a very easy way to kind of mitigate your power cost, your power loss. And I think, yeah, I like it. Doesn't get to power. It comes out on turn 1 if you're going second, or turn 2 if you're going first. Yeah, I like it. Okay, a cold shot. We have not seen Corrupt Enforcer. So 3 energy, 1 power, 4 might. Corrupt Enforcer. When I move to a battlefield, discard 1. And when I win a combat, draw 1. Okay, a very interesting card. Very interesting card. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a worse traveling merchant, at least when you look at the ability. It is of course bigger. It's 4 might for 3 energy and a power, so it does cost a power. When you move to a battlefield, yeah, so you discard 1 and then you have to win a combat to draw 1. Which means that if this just conquers an empty battlefield, then it doesn't get the draw, then it just gets the discard. But what's nice about this is that this can also draw on defense. So if your opponent attacks into this and you manage to pump it up somehow and you win that combat, then it's going to draw 1 as well. So in some cases it could become better than Traveling Merchant, but it's gonna, if you want that to like happen consistently, you have to really build towards that. But yeah, I mean, just getting more cards to discard I think is nice, and one that is cheap but also a bit bulky. I think it's not terrible, but I mean, for now I don't really think you want to swap this out with any of the other discard enablers we have in Jinx. But maybe down the line, maybe you do want to swap this out with one of them. But for now, I don't think you do. Okay, we are moving on to Faye Porter, I believe. 4 energy, 4 might for a unit that says when I move to a battlefield, you may pay 1 chaos power to move a unit you control to the same battlefield. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of the Shipyard Skulker. Is that the one? The one where if you move a unit, you may move that unit along with it. What's funny about this one is that you can conquer one battlefield with something, and then play this out, and then the next turn you can hold with that unit and then attack into the other battlefield with this, and then pay a power and then get the other unit into the same battlefield. It's a really interesting ability. I'm sure someone is gonna find a way to like a really nice combo you can do with this card. I'm thinking like one thing that could be really cool is just like playing this with a green Yasuo. Like I think playing this with cards that have good on attack triggers, or like when I move to battlefield triggers, I think it's the way to go. But also it's just nice to have like extra power while attacking. Just a way to get extra power, and the thing is that you don't have to use it, right? You can just attack with this. It is just a 4/4 vanilla, which is not bad, and then if you want to, you can pay the extra power to get the extra ability off. And what's also nice is that you can play this, and the next turn you can play something out exhausted, and then attack with this, and then the exhausted unit is also going to attack with it. And that is essentially what you can do with the Yasuo if you want to. Like you can play this for 4 and then Yasuo for 6, and then attack with the Yasuo as well. So yeah, I like it. I don't think it's a bad ability at all. Alright, Loyal Pup, we saw that. We did not see Master Bingman. Okay, yeah, so this is again 6 energy, 6 might, Weapon Master. As I said, I think the higher up the mana curve these cards get, the worse they're gonna get as well. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of the limit, it feels like. 6 for 6 is... You can do a lot with 6 energy. And I mean, having a 6 might body on the board is not bad. But when you consider you can pay 1 less and then play Snapvine, for example, then this card doesn't feel as good. But yeah, nothing more to say about that one really. Overzealous fan, we saw Temptation. 2 energy, Temptation for a spell that has repeat 2, and move an enemy unit to a location where there is a unit with the same controller. Okay, so this is kind of like Fight or Flight, but it's a bit more specific. It does have repeat, so you can potentially do it 2 times. Your opponent does have to have a unit there already. But other than that, this could move to both base and battlefield, so you could potentially move like 2 units from one battlefield to the other battlefield and then conquer that battlefield. And like say you're on 7 points and they can't come back to that because they don't have any units in the base or the battlefield. And you can also use units from the battlefield into a battlefield so they can attack you on the next turn. So I think this card is really cool. I don't know how good it's gonna be because it does require your opponent to actually have stuff there. You can't just use it as reliably as like something like Fight or Flight. But again, Fight or Flight can only move stuff back. This can potentially also move stuff in. So yeah, I mean, I think this card is really interesting. I think it is gonna see play. But I'm not sure if you want to run this as 3 of, and I mean, you don't want to run this instead of Fight or Flight, but maybe in addition to. But yeah, I think it's a really cool card. It's a really flavorful card as well, just a cake with a rope around it. But okay. Treasure Hunter, I believe we did not see this one. Let's just go over it quickly. Treasure Hunter, 2 energy, 1 might for a unit that says when I move, play a gold gear token exhausted. Yeah, this is a really good early drop. You basically get a gold every time, at least 1 gold, and then if you manage to survive with it and move it again, then you get another one. And then of course you can use this in Yasuo, where you can move it once, conquer, get a gold, and then move it back, get another gold. So yeah, I really like this card. It is only 1 might, so it's not going to be able to like trade into anything except like tokens and the Soaring Scout and Watchful Sentry, stuff like that. But outside of that, I think the ability is really good. Okay, and then we have Ancient Warmonger, 5 energy, 4 might for a unit that has Accelerate, and I have Assault equal to the number of enemy units here. Okay, that's a very interesting ability. So this is kind of the token, the token eater, recruit token eater in specific. Yeah, I don't think this is a card that you want to play in the main deck. It does have Accelerate, which purple doesn't really have that much Accelerate, so just for that reason, that might be a reason why you want to play this. And the assault is nice. Like if you're going 1v1, it's a 5 might unit, so it's vanilla. And then if they have more than that, it's just gonna get bigger. So, well, maybe this does get to see more play than I initially gave it credit for. I mean, it kind of has the problem with like, okay, you can swing with like 20 on attack, but then it's still only gonna be a 4 on defense, which is the problem with all these like assault cards. So it is like a very aggressive card by nature, and for 6 energy, like these kinds of cards get a lot better when they're that expensive. Like a 6 energy and a power, if you want to play it out accelerated, you can also just play it for 5, in which case it doesn't feel as bad. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a really cool card. The art looks sick, but I don't know how good it's gonna be. It is good to just go for like final strikes, and like against token decks, this is where this card really shines, because then they can have, I mean, however many units they want. Okay, yeah. Let's move on to the Beast Below. Okay, this looks sick. 7 energy and 2 power for an 8 might unit. Beast Below, when you play me, return another friendly unit and an enemy unit to their owner's hand. Okay, so returning stuff to hands is a very powerful ability. This is actually above rate because it's an 8 for 7. Of course, you do have to pay 2 power, and you have to return your own unit as well. And I mean, that could be bad, like depending on the board you have. If you only have like 8 mighty units on the board, you don't really want to bounce one of those back. But if you think about it this way, you can like attack with a Mind Splitter, and then you can bounce the Mind Splitter back, bounce your opponent's stuff back, and then the next turn you can play the Mind Splitter again. And then you could also just play like little stuff, like have a 2 might unit or 2 energy unit, for example. And in that case, it doesn't feel bad. Or you can bounce back a token if you manage to create that. I think this card is definitely gonna see play. I think just like returning stuff to owner's hands is such a powerful ability. It is one of the ways you can like get around cards like Dr. Mundo, for example. So yeah, I think this card is sick. It does cost 2 power, which is a lot, but for what you can potentially get out of it, I think it is. I think it's gonna be worth it. It is sad because you can't return only your own unit or only your opponent's unit. You have to have 2 targets to get the ability off. So that is something to bear in mind. But I think it's a really nice card to just have on the top of the purple curve. Actually, in the middle of the purple curve, because it only costs 7. Okay. Boots of Swiftness, we saw those. Cull, we didn't see this one, I think. Cull is a 1 energy gear in Chaos. We're still on Chaos. Equip 1 power, it gives +1 might, and when I conquer, play a gold gear token exhausted. Yeah, I mean, again, like you play out your turn 1 play, you attach this to it, it gets a bit bulkier, so it's probably going to survive a bit of a bigger hit on your opponent's turn, and then when you conquer, you just get a gold. So that initial kind of cost you had to play to equip it, or the cost you had to pay to equip it, you get that back in the form of a gold token. So yeah, I mean, and if you can play this out and then play something with Weapon Master, then this just becomes even better. So yeah, I like it. It's not incredible, but it's a good gear. Okay, and then we have Factory Recall, 1 energy for an action that says return a gear to its owner's hand. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of where you want to be when it comes to gear removal, especially when it comes to big stuff. And the fact that it has action means that you can also just bounce on equipment back to your hand, or back to your opponent's hand, like mid combat, which is gonna be really relevant against certain equipments. Yeah, I like it. It's 1 energy, you can just bounce the Draven thing back to the hand, which is really annoying for your opponent. Yeah, I think this card is good. I think it's gonna be a mainstay in the purple sideboards now that we're going into a gear meta, for sure. Okay, Hard Bargain. Did we talk about this? I'm not sure. 2 energy for a spell, reaction, repeat 2, counter a spell unless its controller pays 2. I don't know if we talked about it. Let's just do it again, if we did. Yeah, 2 energy, spell, reaction, repeat 2, counter a spell unless its controller pays 2. So this is one of those counter spells that are insane in some scenarios and useless in other scenarios. I mean, it's never really useless because your opponent at least has to pay the 2 or the 4 if you repeat it to get their spell off, and that's going to mess up the rest of the turn. But the fact that you can play this for 2 energy and potentially just blank a Time Warp, or blank a Possession, or blank any of those other like big spells like Harrowing, or the thing that just bounces everything back to the hands. I think this card is incredible. It's a really good tool to have in purple, and like this in Yasuo, with where you also have the green counter spells. I think it's so good. Okay, let's move on to stuff we definitely haven't seen before. In Harpoon Squad, 4 energy, 4 might for a unit that says when I move from a battlefield, give me +2 might this turn. Okay, so move from a battlefield. So, So unless you have the ganking battlefield, then this is not going to get immediate value unless you pair it up with something else. Because you do have to, like, the +2 doesn't do anything in the base. I mean, you can fight or flight it to give it plus, like, it's only from battlefield. Yes, I think this is strictly like a misfortune card almost, because then you can just give it ganking. Then it's always going to be like a 4 for 6, which is not bad. In a mid-range misfortune list, I think this card could actually be pretty sick. And it is a pirate, so it's like on theme with misfortune as well. Yeah, but outside of that, I don't really see I see this card being very good. Okay. We have did we see this one? Yeah, I think we did. Okay, we saw the Fizz, Aurelia, Jay, Sivir. No, we didn't see this Altart. There you go. Okay, yeah. Looks not terrible. Okay, we saw Vex, we saw the Draven, yada 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 yada. This one we didn't see. Okay, Ezreal, Prodigy, 3 energy, 1 power, 3 might for the purple champion Ezreal. When you play me, discard 1, then draw 2. Optional additional cost you pay, cost 1 or 1 power less. Like 1 energy or 1 power less. So just immediately, like discard 1, draw 2, incredible. Incredible ability. That is such a good ability to get. I think this is actually going to be a really good card in Jinx as well. Because like the thing about Jinx is that you're incentivized to go down to a few cards in hand as quickly as possible. But then when you do that, you never know what you're going to get. So you could just draw 2 bricks, like cards that doesn't do anything. But this is going to turn on your discard synergies, but it's also just going to get you cards in hand. Or it's essentially just going to replace itself. Because you get 1 body on the board and then you get to the same number of cards in the hand. So yeah, I think this card is really good. And then the optional cost you pay cost 1 or 1 power less. So that means that Accelerate is going to cost 1 energy or a power less. Repeat, I believe, is also going to cost 1 power or 1 energy less. Yeah, and like, I mean, we've seen all these cards that you can pay an additional thing when you cast it. All those are going to cost less. Yeah, I mean, I like this card. I like it outside of Ezreal as well. I really like it in Jinx. I might also like it in other purple decks. I'm not really sure which ones, but I mean, both these abilities are really good. It's an early card you played for. I mean, it's 3 might, so it dies to anything, which of course is bad. But like in a more of an aggressive deck, I think this card can be really good, and it doesn't cost a power when you play it out. But you most likely will have, like you're most likely going to be able to have gear tokens, like gear ready when you play this out, because I mean we've already seen all the cards that gives you gear. No, gives you gold. I mean, not gear, but gives you gold. So yeah, I really like this card. I think it's gonna definitely see play, not only in Ezreal but in Jinx as well. Yeah, this was the Altart, very handsome with a suit on, and this is the regular one. And then the last one is Last Rites, which we looked at. And okay, that is gonna do it for body. We are moving into order. No, body. That is gonna do it for chaos. So let's see. We have the okay. So Eminent Benefactor. 6 energy, 5 might for a order unit that says when I hold, play 2 gold gear tokens exhausted. I think, I mean, getting 2 gold of course is nice. Holding is pretty difficult. It's a lot more difficult than conquering, as we know. And 6 energy is a lot to pay for effect that you might get, and it's also below rate at 5 energy. So I'm not really, no, at 5 might I mean. So I'm not really too big fan of this card. It could come up, and I mean it is a fairly decent body. So I mean, it could come up sometimes, but I don't think it's the best card in the set. Then we have Eye of the Herald. 1 energy for a gear that has equip cost of 1 body power, no, 1 order power. No plus might, but it says when I move, play a 1 might recruit unit token here. Now I think this card is actually really cool. I think it's gonna be really good in Garen to get an extra body for the legend ability. I think it's also just gonna be good in general in yellow decks where you want to get like more units on the board. It's also gonna be extra good in Renata Glask if you have the yellow Renata champion out, because then you can get the unit and then you can just move the unit back, like the recruit back, because the recruits enter ready. I believe that's how that works. I don't know if it comes in attacking, but does it have to be exhausted to attack? I'm not sure actually. I don't think that matters. Like it can still be an attacker but be ready. Yeah, of course it can, because you can like ride the wind into a battlefield and attack. So yeah, like in that kind of thing is gonna be better. But I think just this, there is one card that I saw like one. I think it's probably a card that we're getting to. Yeah, okay. Well, I'll talk about that card when we get to it. Yeah, I think it's a cool card. It's cheap, only costs 1 energy. Doesn't give plus might, which is sad, but it does like just develop extra bodies, and a lot of decks want that. So yeah, I like it. Okay, and then we have guards. 3 energy for a order spell. It has hidden, and it says play a 2 might sand soldier unit token here, and then you may pay 1 1 order power to ready it. I think this is pretty expensive for the full cost. Like if we're gonna play it as like just from hand, 3 energy for a 2 might unit is a lot, especially when you can make it in the Azir deck, just like with the legend ability. When you play this from hidden, it gets a lot better. Then it's just like free, and then you can pay an extra power to ready it as well. So I think Azir might like to play this card. You might also like to play it on other cards. Like this is also one of those cards where you do get to play more units effectively without like interfering with something like Dazzling Aurora, for example. So it kind of gets you more units in the form of spells. So some other decks might care about that as well. But I think it's a good card. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's okay. Okay, Honest Broker, did we look at this girl? I think we did, yeah. Definitely I'll play Gold Gear Token Exhausted. Good card. Laurent Duelist. More Laurents. 4 energy and 3 might for a unit that says that just has Assault 2. I mean, understated, 4 for 3 is not great. It has Assault, so it's a 5 on attack, which is, I mean, it's okay. But I mean, it runs into the problem that all the other Assault units does, that it's good while attacking and that it's really bad at defending. So yeah, I'm not really too big of a fan of this card. Okay, Royal Guard, we saw Sand Shifter. Okay, 5 energy and 2 power for a 6 might unit that says when you play me, kill an enemy unit with 3 might or less. I mean, I think this card gets a lot better when you pair it with blue or something that has the ability to minus might. Because in that case you can just kill, like if you use a smokescreen for example, you can suddenly kill a 7 might unit, which is a lot better than a 3 might unit. At a base level, I don't think this card is that good. For 5 energy, I mean, you do develop a 6 might unit, but for this same cost, you could also be playing Snapvine, and that effectively could kill a 5 might unit. Of course, it is a lot riskier because it also gets damage dealt back, so it just insta dies to something like a smokescreen. But I mean, effects that kill units are always going to be like somewhat playable, at least. I think the double power cost is what sets us back. But I mean, again, we are going to be able to make a lot of gold gears in this coming set, so you might be able to mitigate some of that. And like just a 6 for 5 is nice if you can like get the 2 power off the gold, and this is good. And then you can kill a unit in addition, which is nice. I'm interested to see how irrelevant this is going to be, because a lot of the 3 might units, like the 3 might base units, are probably going to be equipped with equipment that is going to get them above that. So I wonder how often you're actually going to get this ability off when you play it out. And I don't really think you want to play it on curve unless you've developed like like I said, gold tokens that you can, so you don't have to pay the full power cost. But yeah, I don't think it's amazing, but it's a card that could see play, and I mean 5 or 6 is a good stat line, just that. But then the power is 2 power is quite a lot. But okay, then the card that I was talking about earlier, Trusty Ramhound, 2 energy and 2 might, and while you have another unit here, I have +1 might. So this card is really nice to pair with the Eye of the Herald, because then you can play this on turn 1, and then turn 2 you can play this, attach it, and then when this attacks, it attacks for 2, it gets a unit, and then because it gets a unit that attacks with him, he gets +1. So you attack for 4 essentially instead of 3, which is a neat little combo you can do. It's also like just gonna make it a lot harder for your opponent to attack you back, so you might be able to hold as well. But I mean, yeah, this of course it is essentially just a 2 might unit, and then it has potential to be a 1 might unit. Well, no, 1 might unit, a 3 might unit. So yeah, I think it's a cute little turn 1 play. Has some nice synergy with the gear, as I said. But yeah, other than that, just a okay card. Okay, we're looking at Zon Punk. 3 energy, 3 might for a guitar hero here. Zon Punk, you may kill a friendly gear as an additional cost to play me. When you play me, if you paid the additional cost, kill a gear. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of, I think we've seen one of these effects before where we kind of trade a gear. I think it was a green card. You could kill a gear to kill a gear. Yeah, I mean, again, these cards are, they're good in what they do. It's probably not a main deck card. You do have to kind of build your deck to have a certain amount of gear, so that you, when you want to play this card out, you actually have ways to do so, or ways to like activate the ability. So I mean, usually you're gonna want to kill like a gold gear token with this. You could also pair it up with something like, if we get chaos, you can pair it up with like a scrap heap, or if you get the order chaos color combination, you can play with something like a scrap heap to get some extra value off of it. But yeah, I mean, just gear removal and just ways to kill that in general is just gonna be good. And then if you don't want to use that, you can just play it out on turn 1 or turn 2 if you're going first, as a 3 for 3, which is, I mean, it's not terrible. Okay, big friendly sword, we saw that. Blood money, I don't think we saw this one. So 2 energy, action, spell, kill a unit at a battlefield with 2 might or less. If it was an enemy unit, play a gold gear token exhausted. If it was a friendly unit, play 2 gold gear tokens exhausted. This is a very interesting card. It's kind of like, it kind of feels like a hidden blade in a way. You kind of get, it's better for you if you kill your own unit. It's, of course, the ceiling is very low, so like 2 might is, you're not going to be able to kill a lot. So in that way, it's probably going to be easier to kill your own unit. But it is a way to get more gold, and I think for now, I think the one deck that could potentially run this is run out of glass, because of the legend ability, where if you're at 5 or more points, then your gold also create energy. So in that way, you're essentially ramping 2 if you play this, in a way. Yeah, but I mean, I don't think other decks are gonna run this, because 2 might is like you're killing so few things. I mean, it's essentially only tokens, and even then, it's like, yeah, it's you're not really gonna play this offensively. I think you're strictly gonna play this to just kill your own thing and then get 2 gold gear tokens out of it. Okay, I don't think we saw Death Grip, did we? Maybe. Well, I'm gonna talk about it. 2 energy, spell for a Death Grip reaction, kill a friendly unit to give +1 might or plus might equal to its might to another friendly unit this turn, and draw 1. Draw 1, it replaces itself, immediately a good card in my eyes. Kill a friendly unit to give plus might equal to its might to another friendly unit this turn. This is a really nice combat trick, where if you attack with 2 units and your opponent decides to kill the biggest one, for example, you can just kill that biggest one and then give it the might, or give the other unit the might. So the might difference, like nothing happened there. So that's a really nice thing you can do, and just the fact that it replaces itself is so good. Like, you don't lose any hand advantage from that. You keep the amount of cards on your hand that you did before you played this card. I mean, yeah, I like this card a lot, and I mean, I'm sure there are gonna be some synergies as well, where you like play these on cards that have Death Rattle. No, Death Rattle. That's Hearthstone. Death Knell, like Death Knell abilities. Because I think this is one of the, I mean, it is one of the few cards that like kill your own unit, just like kill your own unit like this. So yeah, I like it, and then you do get the benefit of just like giving that buff to something else, and it doesn't have to be on the same place. So you could kill something at a battlefield and then give the might to something at the base. Yeah, so it's very flexible like that. I like it a lot. I like this a lot. Okay, Dragunder we saw, Glass Mixologist we saw. We didn't see this one, I think. Okay, Rally the Troops. So 2 energy for an action, a spell that says when a friendly unit is played this turn, buff it, and then draw 1. Yeah, I mean, again, replaces itself. Always a good thing. When a friendly unit is played this turn, buff it. This is kind of like those, like a confront, but for buffs instead of readying. And again, like I think this is also going to be played the most in Renata Glass, because then you can, like if you have like the 7 energy gear, for example, you can play this out, and then you make the, or because then you could play this out, and then you can make the 3 recruits off the gear. They all get a buff, and then if you have the yellow Renata Glass like champion out, they all get ready, and then they can attack right away. Maybe that's the deck that wants to play this. Like I think this is best played in a token deck, and I think for now Renata is probably the best one to do it as well. It could of course be played in other things. I mean, it does draw 1, so it replaces itself. So even if you only get like 1 or 2 or 3 buffs out of it, you're still not going to lose any hand advantage off of that. So I think it's a very, like for that reason, I think it's a lot more flexible than it would have been otherwise. And it's interesting that it has action. So that means that you could also, like you could combo it with something like a Shen, for example. If that is something you want to do, like when you play the Shen is going to come in for a 6 on defense instead of a 5. So that could be interesting. Yeah, I think it's a cool card. Okay, Unsung Hero we've looked at. Here's the big gear. Vanguard Armory, play 3 recruit unit tokens. Yeah, this one is gonna be sick. Okay, we looked at Altar of Memories, Rek'Sai, yep, Renata, Sacred Shear, Soraka, Trove Golem. I think we looked at all of these, right? I think we have. Maybe we didn't look at Azir? No, we did. Yeah, I think we looked at all of them. Alright, yeah. That is the cards. We're gonna actually take a quick look at the, because we got all of the, oh no, we got signature spells, never mind. Okay, we looked at this. We have not looked at, so Aaand actually has 3 signature cards, 3 gears, and they all have unique, which is a new keyword, which means that your deck can only have 1 card with this name. So he has 3 different signature gears, but you can only play them as a one-off, so you can still only have 3 signature cards in your deck. At least for now. But okay, let's start with the first one. Forge Fire Cape, 4 energy, 2 power. Unique, equip 1 power, like rainbow power, so any power. Gives plus 3 might, and when I attack or defend, deal 2 damage to all enemy units here. I mean, this is of course a good ability, just dealing 2 to everything. The problem is that a lot of decks now, like people are getting very good at not like stacking battlefields too heavily with stuff. So just the dealing 2 on attack is probably not going to be that easy. But then like on defense, it kind of becomes like a pseudo Ahri, as I mentioned before with these kinds of effects, where you get to deal 2 and then to everything. So you could potentially do a lot of damage there. But of course, the problem with damaging again, as opposed to like giving minus might, is that you're still going to get dealt the full might back. So yeah, but I mean, it does get plus 3 might as well. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good gear. I think it's probably not the one you play the most, because in some cases it just doesn't do enough. Like against like Aurora, like dealing 2 to a Deadbone Predator is, I mean, doesn't really matter that much. But yeah, I think it's a really cool card. Okay, let's look at the other one. And apparently I've heard that these equipments are very famous for people who have played League of Legends, which I have not. So, but okay. 4 energy and 2 power for Rabadon's Death Crown. Unique, equip, plus 3 might, and your spells and abilities deal 3 bonus damage. Now that is kind of insane. That is like an Annie on crack and steroids and ecstasy at the same time. Yeah, just spells and abilities dealing 3 bonus damage is insane. Especially when you take into consideration, like now we've got the blue damage spells, we got those, and then also like if you combine this with the Forged Fire Cape, if you get both of these out, then this is gonna deal 5 damage to all enemy units, which is a lot better than 2 damage to all of the units. So yeah, I like this card a lot. I mean, green and blue is like, of course, a very, like a red would have just died to have this effect, but that would, I mean, probably been a bit too oppressive. But for now, like there is a limited amount of cards that are gonna work with this, because we don't have that many things that deal damage in blue and green. I think in blue we have 2, like the thing that deals 3 damage, and then the rocket that deals 4 with the repeat. So for 8 energy, you could potentially deal 14 damage with that if you have this one out. So yeah, but I mean, you do, like all of these gears, like they're very expensive, 4 and 2 power, and then you have to pay another power to equip it, which, I mean, you get one of those power for free from Aaand, the legend. But I mean, it is still a very high investment to keep playing these things out. But of course, the good thing about equipment is that they just stay on the field after the unit that they were equipped to dies. So that's very good. But okay, let's take a look at the last one. Shirelia's Requiem. 4 energy and 2 power, same text there, equip and unique. Plus 2 might this time, and your units here have ganking. So this is a very interesting gear, because it gives all of your units at the same location as the unit that it's attached to ganking, including itself. Your units here are ganking. We can move from battlefield to battlefield. I love that they wrote the we there. So this could be very interesting to just play out from the hand and then equip it right away to just all of a sudden give your whole battlefield ganking. So I think this is gonna be more the one that you play out when you immediately when you want to get value out of it. And I mean, I haven't started building Aaand yet, so I don't know how that deck looks, but if you can like stack one battlefield full and then you just play this out, and then all of a sudden everything is ganking, and your opponent is like, oh, I didn't expect the Windswept Hillock here. But yeah, I mean, just giving a bunch of units ganking is never a bad thing, right? So yeah, I think this card as well is great. I think all of these equipments have been really good. Okay, Counter Strike, I think we saw. I think we've probably seen all of the other signature spells. So you know the next time, yep. Arise, maybe we didn't see Arise. Yeah, no, we did. Arcane Shift. Yep, we saw that, and then Battle Mistress on the Hunt and Riposte. Yeah, we saw all of them. But we've also got some battlefields. And I do not remember which ones we've seen. I hate these are sideways. Okay, they're not there. So when you conquer here, this is called Emperor's Die. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 energy and return a unit you control here to its owner's hand. If you do, play a 2-might Sand Soldier unit token here. Huh, this is very interesting. I'm not really sure what you want to do with this, or I mean, what you want to bounce with this. I guess you might want to bounce the yellow. Oh, let me actually see if I can find that. The Royal Guard. Oh no, never mind. That was more expensive than I thought. Yeah, I mean, when you play me, you play 2 might. Yeah, it's a bit expensive. 4 energy. You don't really want to bounce that back. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure what you want to bounce back with that. Like, essentially, you want to bounce back something that has like an on-play effect or on-play ability, so that you can get the on-play multiple times, and ideally something that's cheap. 4 energy is quite a lot to just keep bouncing back to get a token. But yeah, I mean, interesting battlefield. Then we have the Forge of the Fluffed. While you control this battlefield, friendly legends have exhaust me and attach an equipment to control to a unit you control. Now this is very good, because in some cases that means that the legend just gets another ability. Like, some of the legends has to exhaust them to get their own ability off, but some of them don't. And just like giving them an exhaust ability is really powerful. And just attaching an equipment you control to units you control, I mean, yeah, that like circumvents the whole like restriction of like you can't like equip stuff that is already equipped, because that part of the card, like that text doesn't exist anymore, in a sense. So yeah, I think this is a really good battlefield. I think it's going to be a really dangerous battlefield to play, because you might end up in the situation where your opponent gets a lot more value out of this than you do. So you really have to know what you're doing if you're going to play this one, I think. Especially in the Spiritforged format, which looks to be very equipment heavy. Forgotten Monument. Forgotten Monument. Players can't score here until their 3rd turn. Now this battlefield is quite insane, I think. I think if you are going first and you conquer the other battlefield, and then you just sit there, then your opponent is not going to be able to get any points in the early game, which is quite insane. So yeah, I like this battlefield a lot. It's really taxing. I think this is going to be really good in decks that that go a bit slower, like Aurora, for example. I think loves to play this because that's gonna make it so that your opponent can't get 2 points on turn 2 or 3, which is really good. And then if you can combine your deck with something like Gust and stuff like that to kind of keep your opponent from getting points on the other battlefield as well, then that could be a huge difference in you actually being able to keep up once you get your game plan developed. So yeah, I think a lot of decks are gonna love this battlefield. Okay, we have Hall of Legends. I don't think we saw that one. Hall of Legends. When you conquer here, you may pay 1 energy to ready your legend. Yeah, a really, really powerful effect. I'm looking at Yasuo. I'm thinking Yasuo right away. Yasuo, and then in this case, if you combine the Hall of Legends and the Forge of the Fluff, then essentially all of the legends could be readied with this. Yeah, I think again a lot of legends are gonna love this. It is on Conquer, so it's not on Hold, so it's really easy to get off. You just have to conquer it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Okay, then we have Mirai Spire. While you control this battlefield, friendly repeat costs cost 1 less. Now that's a very interesting ability because some of the repeat, all of the repeat costs essentially just makes it so that you have to pay the price of the card twice. So if the card costs 2 and a power to play out, then you have to pay 2 and a power to repeat it. Just getting an extra energy for free there is really good, and it's while you control this battlefield, so it's not like a once per turn. It's just all of your repeat spells just cost 1 less, or repeat costs cost 1 less. So not the spell itself, but the repeat one. Yeah, I think you're to really get the full value out of this. I think you want to maybe build your deck a little bit with this one in mind. But what's also nice about it is that this is one of those battlefields that's your opponent is not immediately gonna get a lot of value out of. It's not like a Grove of the God Willows where everyone can just hold and just keep drawing cards, for example. And that is also a very good thing to have, like some of those battlefields where it doesn't necessarily do a lot for you, but it also doesn't do a lot for your opponent, and that is also something you should take into consideration. But yeah, I like it. Okay, we are looking at Minefield. When you conquer here, put the top 2 cards of your main deck into your trash. Yeah, this one is the battlefield that I was thinking when I was talking about the gear, the forecast gear that makes it so that you can recycle. I think it was a red gear. Makes it so that you can recycle a unit from the trash and then play a mech token, or create a mech token. I think this could be really good for that. It's also going to be really good for just reanimator strategies when that becomes the thing. I know people have made reanimator decks already, but I don't think they're that good now yet. But if they become really good, then this card is going to be a really interesting battlefield to play in those decks. But outside of those, I don't really think a lot of other decks want to play this, because not all decks interact with the trash. It could be nice if you're playing something like Immortal Phoenix, for example, or if you're playing Jinx with getting Death Rocket in the trash, it could be nice. Yeah. Okay, we are Orange Forge, I think we've seen that one, and Power Nexus. Ravenbloom Conservatory we've talked about. We have not, oh my god, there's so many battlefields. Okay, six more. Rockfall Path. So units can't be played here. It's one of those, if you're fearing a lot of Aurora, and you're fearing the Dead Bloom, then this could be the battlefield you want to hold on to. Other than that, it's not going to be relevant a lot of the times. One thing that is to be noted, this negates the whole ability of the Eye of the Herald, because you can't play the recruit token into that battlefield. So that just negates that, which is kind of funny. And also, another thing is that this... wait, let me actually double check that, because you have the Ferrous Forerunner, the red mech Let me just check where that placed the tokens. Okay, so okay, so into the base. Okay, so it doesn't work with this one. I was thinking like you can kill this and then you couldn't get the tokens because it couldn't be played into the battlefield. But okay, yeah, I mean, interesting card. It gets around cards like Deadbloom, gets around the Sneaky Deckhand and those kinds of cards that just, or the Purple Misfortune that just play into the battlefields. Yeah, interesting. I don't know which decks want to play this, but I mean, I know which decks you want to have this against. But yeah, I'm not really sure what decks you want to play this in their decks. But okay, let's look at Seat of Power. When you conquer here, draw one for each other battlefield you or allies control. Yeah, so this is of course getting a lot better in multiplayer. In single player, your mech's gonna get to draw one off of this, which is not bad. I mean, just drawing one is always good. But of course, this is also one of those that like you get one draw and then your opponent gets one draw and then you get one draw if you like keep attacking back and forth. And this also like disincentivizes you to pull back, because like if you're playing like Draven, for example, or red deck, like an aggro deck, you usually want to just attack and then pull back on the next turn and then attack again. You don't really want to sit holding those battlefields. So yeah, but I mean it's an interesting battlefield, but it gets a lot better in multiplayer or in 2v2, for example, because then you and your ally can conquer both the other battlefields, and then you're gonna get to draw two, which is pretty good. Okay, we are looking at Sunken Temple. When you conquer here with one or more mighty units, you may pay one energy to draw one. Yeah, I think Volibear loves this card. I think Fiora loves this card. I think Dazzling Aurora in general loves this card. Yeah, I think this card is really good, or this battlefield is really good. I mean, mighty units is something that everyone can, or like all decks, I believe, can like get to, like just get to mighty, and then just have to pay an energy to draw one. Yeah, I mean, I like this card a lot. It's kind of the battlefield that Volibear has wanted for a long time, because Volibear doesn't really draw that well, and a combination with also the new card we saw that just like draws you one for each mighty unit you have, like a spell. That along with this is just gonna help that deck a lot. So yeah, good one. Okay, we're looking at the third to last here, the Paper Tree. When you hold here, each player channels one rune exhausted. Yeah, again, I think this is more of like a multiplayer card. You don't really want to give your opponent free runes. Then you'd rather just play the Targon's Peak instead. Start Tipped Peak instead, I mean. Yeah, I mean, you don't really want to give your opponent stuff. This could be very good in 2v2. Because yeah, you're giving your opponent stuff, but you're also giving your partner stuff. And yourself, of course. So yeah, I don't think this is going to see a lot of play in 1v1. And then we have the Treasure Hoard. I believe we saw this one. Yep. And then the final battlefield is the Veiled Temple. And it says, when you conquer here, you may ready a friendly gear. If it's an equipment, you may detach it. You may detach it. Okay, that's interesting. So this, like this, of course, in combination with, again, the big 7 energy gear that creates 3 recruit tokens. You can create 3 recruit tokens, and then you can conquer, ready it, and then create 3 more recruit tokens. I think it's really nice. Just like detaching equipment could also be good if you have if you want to equip them onto something else, like potentially attack you can attack this battlefield with the thing that has the equipment attached, and then you can detach the equipment and then equip it to something else that's sitting in your base, for example. Yeah, I think it's flexible. The fact that it works with both, like, I mean, it essentially works with all gear, especially specifically the ones that exhaust, but also equipment. I think is yeah, I think is really good. Okay, so that is all the new cards. But then let's just take a quick stroll down the alt art lane here. So we got the Seal of Rage, we got the Vein, a lot of beautiful alt arts here. The Aphelios, Irelia, Seal of Focus. Again, I'm collecting these. My Queen Ari. This Bard looks so sick. Look at this thing. Oh my god, I think this is gonna look beautiful in person with the foiling and everything. Yeah, Seal of Insight, a little gear seal there. And I mean, can we stop with the Teemos? Don't we have enough Teemos now? I mean, this looks sick, but I mean, come on, we don't need another Teemo promo. Yeah, Give us something else. Seal of Strength set, of course, cool there. Yoni Blademaster, this one looks pretty badass, I think. Pretty cool signature as well. Seal Discord, Yasuo Wind Rider. Yeah, I mean, it's a very nice Yasuo. Darius Karma. Maybe Karma's gonna see some play actually in this format. She didn't see much play last format, unfortunately. Seal of Unity, Soraka, nice Soraka as well. And then yeah, all the legends look insane, I think. Look at this. Oh my god. Yeah, this Azir, I think, is gonna look criminal in person. Holy crap. Well, I mean, as you know, I am planning to open 2 boxes of Spiritforged when it releases. So hopefully I can get one of these. And then Renata looks, yeah, I mean, all of these look so beautiful. Okay, then, ladies and gentlemen, if you're still with me so far, we've now covered every single card in Spiritforged. And now I want to hear from you. Like, what do you think about my takes? Am I way off, or do you agree with me? Do you think I should just stop doing these videos because you hate me? You hate my takes and you think I'm stupid? Then, I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. But if you're still with me, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for allowing me to keep making these videos. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to keep her any longer. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, take care and bye-bye.